in Philadelphia. Independence Hall.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Alexander Hamilton, and this room in Independence Hall holds a very special part in my life. For the men that did the work here back in '76, deciding to uh, declare themselves independence was a monumental achievement. And then I came to finish the job to create the form of government this nation um, is best adapt to grow with. But I am really here for you. If you have any questions for myself or anything that you wanted to know about history, government, politics, otherwise, I love
Um,
telling stories.
you could. I guess I'll just listen to the stories for now.
Certainly. And where do you come from?
I'm from Michigan.
Ah, it's Michigan. That was actually part of Virginia back in the 18th century, believe it or not.
Oh,
Virginia
really?
was about 20% of the landmass of all 13 colonies. So it was really the biggest player. And that's why the gentleman here who sat at the Virginia table, uh, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, um, Mr. Mason, these are Peyton Randolph. These are men that basically are, if there was one state to basically be synonymous with the most gentlemen coming out of it, it would certainly be from Virginia, which was a reason why it's a little disheartening when on one night in April, the night of the 18th in 1775, in the beautiful genteel town of Williamsburg, Virginia, which is the capital of Virginia, the redcoats, the regular soldiers who are not a police force, but they are military troops. But there are no problems really in Williamsburg, Virginia, being such a congenial town, being such a loyal town. Um, but the regulars saw fit to go into the powder magazine and steal all of the gunpowder, shot, muskets, bayonets, and whatnot. Now, might have be of small note to you of such a thing, but to us, this was our police force, not the soldiers, but those weapons, because we are the defenders of the town. We don't have a public good of the poor yet society. At best, you can have a night watchman or a couple, but those would be in the larger cities just in case there was some problem where people had to come out and defend themselves from an Indian attack or pirates or the French or the Spanish or eventually the English again. The powder magazines served as a place where the local citizens who paid their own taxes for this purpose can go and then defend themselves. You find often citizens would not in the city would not have a need to have a musket, though if you lived outside the city, it would be essential for your survival to be able to hunt game for both food as well as for other items. But same something else very famous occurred that you probably have heard about. Maybe due to the Longfellow poem was written in the 19th century, which talks about the famous ride of Paul Revere, Dr. Samuel Prescott, and Richard Dawes. But one if by land, two if by sea. This
Wasn't
was
there a woman?
yes, there was. Thank you. Her is Huntington, was it? Sally Huntington?
I don't know.
Could be mistaken, but you are absolutely correct about there being a female writer who also did help in that in spreading the word that the regulars were coming to again take the powder magazines, to take the shot, the muskets away from the more rambunctious group, the Minutemen of Boston and the Sons of Liberty up in Boston. regulars already had the town of Boston, so they already secured what was there. But now they need to go into the rural area in order to get what was there. So on the same night, the two far ends of the colonies, British government comes and disarms the people. Now, the people themselves are really just asking for the rights which are already guaranteed in the English Constitution, which is the right to have a vote or the member in parliament. This is something that you have today and we take for granted. And it's something that if it's taken away from you, you would really want to proclaim that this is unjust. And that is exactly what we were doing. It all went back to the Stamp Act in 1765 when Parliament over in London put a tax on us and we did not have a representative in Parliament. They could have simply given us a representative from the colonies to speak on our behalf in Parliament, but they decided not to open it up to us. A system akin to when you have a new state and you will have to then open up to a voting representative as in the Senate. So you're giving them a vote, and they did not want to give us that vote. But as English citizens, we're guaranteed that vote. And so now, when the British government is taking away our ability to arm ourselves from taking away our ability to have a navy by a law which decreed that all trees 18 inches or wider belonged to the king. So the bigger the tree, the bigger the mast. The bigger the mast, the bigger the ship. The bigger the ship, the more goods or guns it could carry. So by basically proclaiming all large trees are his, have the ability to create a navy unless with his permission, something that he was reluctant to do. So you now pay a favorable part of your attentions to the sentiment, which is the right to bear arms. This story that I've relayed to you is the foundational story of why we enshrined the Second Amendment into our Constitution. And it really was a right for the citizens themselves to basically uh, be able to be heard no matter how much resistance is given us by the government. Whether or not that still exists in your time is quite debatable.
These posters, what are they?
How about that? So,
The posters?
the most important thing, we offer free programs to schools concentrating on the events that happened in this room in 1776 and 1787. This actually over here is our event concerning 1776. And we're going to be hosting this event once again in just a couple of days on February 20th. This is why we have the black cards on the tables. It is a play where we reenact the events of June 1776 using primary source materials as much as we can. So almost every word spoken by the participants were words spoken by the founding fathers as they debated whether or not we should declare ourselves a separate country, to declare independence from Great Britain, to whom we have been loyal royal subjects. So that's quite interesting. This is where you can find me in the around the New Common every Sunday morning. I take people around, and that's in New York. And then the last one is talking about the Constitutional Convention. But unfortunately, the program for that will not be able to happen here, or there's only 25 more days left for this all to exist. After about 3.5 weeks from now, I'm not really sure what will become these programs.
This is a cool idea. Teach people about
Thank you.
history.
Thank you.
Um, it would be nice if it expanded to like more, you know, um,
Well, that was the
different.
plan to actually have another to go outside. There's another room out there and to actually go into a courtyard and be able to see a little bit about life and to really expand it out. Um, we do exist
Yeah,
in
that
Horizon
too.
Worlds as well, but it's very different in Horizon Worlds. It's much more make believe with
Mm,
rounded, emotional, soft, happy edges.
yeah, that too. But I mean, like more people, more historical figures, and then like because it's Black History Month, you can also do like that element in there too. That would be nice.
I love your idea. Most definitely, we have to get more people on here. I tried to get a James Madison to come and debate here with me, but just logistically, we have not been able to make it work. But I would celebrate the opportunity to bring more historical interpreters into space to really a grander multitude of items, and that's something that we are working towards right now.
I think young people are disinterested in just knowledge. And I think that might be the problem, but they like pseudoscience and rumors. So I don't know. But
It was very much akin to life in the 18th century. Yes, I feel that we had a harder time in the 18th century, but the more I live, also in your 21st century, I realize that it is very hard here as well. We actually built that whole mentality to our government. Basically, 'cause when we were deciding here who's going to vote, what we were doing was creating a an opportunity for the people to have a voice. Or only about 3% of the population in England could vote. It's about the same here in the colonies. But we wanted to open that up to more people. But as we look around, for example, James Madison and myself, and we walk the streets of Philadelphia and later walk the streets of New York, we look around and then we question ourselves. Do we really want to give these guys the right to vote? I look at some of them and what they believe, and then I'm starting to question, whether or not a representative democracy can work, whether or not the population can educate themselves enough to be for their voice to have sound reason behind it versus a random choice based on whisper in the wind, or even worse yet, an emotional attachment to an idea to which blocks you to the reason of the argument. That is our real enemy in the 18th century. And I believe that enemy has come to bite you again in the 21st.
yeah, there's because of the internet, there's so much. It gives us access to so much information, but at the same time, it gives us access to so much incorrect information, and so as a result, people believe some person who claims they're a scientist on TikTok before actually opening a book and finding out for themselves. And that's the reason why people
Yeah.
have, in my opinion, kind of separated themselves from like I don't know religious beliefs like God because they believe, you know, stuff that isn't true instead of actually finding out, opening a book and reading for themselves. But anyway, I actually my headset's about to die. But it was nice talking
It
to
was a
you.
pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. God bless. I hope it works out.
Thank you.